Welcome to Podtendo, a Nintendo podcast, where they analyze, reminisce, and replay the glory of old Nintendo games.
Sibling rivalry, Mario and Luigi team up using synchronized super moves in their most ridiculous adventure ever. Mario and Luigi, Superstar Saga. Rated E for everyone.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Podtendo podcast, where we analyze, reminisce, and replay the glory of old Nintendo games. We can contact it on Twitter. You can email us, podtendo@gmail.com. Reply in the YouTube comment section below if you find yourself listening on YouTube. And if you're on your podcast catcher out running around, when you get home, just fire us off a comment. That's what I always do. That's the first thing I think of when I get home from my runs is, who should I talk to on YouTube? You can do that. I am your co-host, Mick, and I'm joined ever by my lovely and talented co-host,
Tyson.
Cool. Welcome back. It feels like it's been a while.
Yeah, it sure has. It's one of our longer breaks, but it's kind of nice to do that every once in a while. Kind of give us a fresh start. Or a fresh little mini vacation, and then we're back doing fun stuff. It's the month of Mario. So we got a fun Mario game ahead of us.
We do have a great Mario game. One of, I'm going to sneeze, and it's coming on, and now it's going away, and all sorts of feelings.
I know you guys did an orange.
Yeah, I've heard or you say pineapple or something, but this one I think there's actually just something in my nose that's tickling my sinuses. Oh. Probably like a dog hair. My dog is just so goddamn shitty. Yeah, welcome. We are a review pop culture let's play retrospective show. So you're going to get a little bit all of that today as we look at Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga. And you, the viewers or listeners or consumers of our content, I think you're but guys, you didn't even take a break. It's because we record up all of them at once sometimes.
Yeah.
We go away on vacations. You don't even notice.
It's the podcaster's secret trick. We don't record the day before we release stuff. That'd be silly. But some podcasts, like sports ones, you kind of have to. You can't bulk that up unless you're telling a history of a year that's not a current year, maybe.
Yeah, but anything that's a retrospective, you can just kind of do whatever, which is what we do. And that brings us to our second installment in the month of Mario. Although I know we're definitely doing just 2 more Mario games the rest of the year, so it kind of feels like it's a double month at the end of the year here. But this is the official month of Mario, so we had to get a Mario game in. Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga. Did I say that already?
I think so. Or no, maybe not. I don't know. I have no idea.
Okay, cool. Well, as long as you're paying less attention to me talking than I'm paying to me talking, I think we're okay.
Yeah. As long as somebody's not transcribing this word for word and be these guys sure are repeating themselves. What a bunch of morons these guys are.
Hey, whoa, let's not talk about how big of morons we are, because we're really big morons. This game was developed by Alpha Dream. It sold 2.15 million copies. With the 3DS remake, it's actually closer to 4.5 million. The release date was November 17th, 2003. How Long to Beat has this game at 18 hours. Price at release was $34.99, and if you factor in inflation, that'd be $56.96 today. On eBay, you can get a copy of this game for $50 to $100. Is that how much I spent? Because I bought a copy of this game, a digital one. Man. No, maybe that's an original.
Yeah, that's got to be original.
Yeah, okay. And then eShop, it's $65 for the Switch Online service, and I think it was actually just released on the Game Boy Advance. So if you're following along and you have your Switch and you have your Switch Online and you click on the Game Boy Advance tab, you can actually play this game without having to buy a physical copy. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, and we kind of try to find games on there, little gems that we haven't touched, because it's a great little service. We both subscribe to it, and $65 a year, you kind of get every so often. I wish there was always more games, but that's just me. I miss being able to go to a Blockbuster and just being what's this random game called Jersey Devil? However, I'll take you home.
Yeah, no, that is something that is definitely missed, and nostalgia. And there may be a market for it. I think we're a society that likes going to stores and looking at guys in blue polo shirts. Where to play this game, you have to get the original Game Boy Advanced cart, a Game Boy Advanced Online, 3DS cart, or an emulator. So pick your poison.
Yeah, pretty accessible. The GBA, the online service, has like their rewind and save states all built in, so it's real handy, especially for a timed based game.
I could see that. Yeah, that definitely would probably help a little bit. Yeah. All right, cool. So before we get going, though, guys, what we have to do is we like to set the stage. We have to remember what life was like 20 years ago. Oh, my God. I'm so old. November 17th, 2003. So 20 years ago. What were we up to? We're going to play sound clips today? Probably not, which is good. That makes this, I don't know, seem faster if there's no sound clips. Favorite show? We're going to see The Simpsons, Season 15, Episode 3, The President Wore Pearls. Lisa becomes the student body president. Hilarity ensues.
Yeah, wow, this is so dated. I think she has at yahoo.com as her email handle. So back when Yahoo was... Everybody's your cool kid if you had Yahoo as your email tag.
Somebody just had... They were talking and they had a Hotmail account.
That's impressive.
Right?
Because I think my because I had one and then I'm sure it got converted to an Outlook at some point.
Oh, yeah.
They were like, please get rid of off that horrible Outlook. But...
I don't know what happened. Yeah, so it was like, they're like, oh, it's like my first email and I like need it because I have these like contacts that I still talk to. And I'm like, you still talk to people from Hotmail? That's impressive. Good
like,
for you.
Now you're going to tell me you go to internet chat rooms like routinely.
Sure, I guess. All right, so then other top TV shows that were available, popular, November 17th, 2003. The Wire, NCIS, The Shield, NYPD Blues, and 24. So we love our crime cathedrals, that's for sure.
Yeah, must be easy to film.
I think they are. I think they're very cut and paste and, yeah, not tough. Top cartoons, at least that came out this year, were Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, all grown up, Jacob Tutu, Teen Titans, and Odd Job Jack. Odd Job Jack. What the fuck is Odd Job Jack?
I have no idea, but I was like, I remember me some Jacob Tutu. I didn't really like that show when it first came out, and then I think I was like sick or whatever and had a fever and stayed home or played hooky and stayed home. And it was the only thing on TV, and I watched a couple episodes, and then I became hooked, and I read a bunch of the books, and I was like, this is actually good. I don't know why I didn't like this. I think because I was a dumb kid, and I was just like, it has tutu in it. That's too close to a tutu, like a ballerina wears. I can't read this. It's like, no, he just says things twice.
Yes, that was kind of his yeah, I remember it was the Hooded Fang. Like, I remember reading that book in like grade 3, and like it went over my head. I didn't really get it. So.
Oh yeah, and then like that.
Odd Job
that show,
Jack. I googled it. Yeah. I don't recognize it. Like, it's a good name though. Odd Job Jack.
And all grown up. Rugrats still trying to cling to any relevance that they had. I remember Odd Job Jack. This was on like what, Comedy Central?
I think so. Yeah, it's kind of that like bad early 2000s animation. It's good. Top movies.
Yeah, the guy does like a new job every day or something. Yeah,
I imagine that. Yeah, that's probably the premise. All right, so this week in movies, yeah, you could see Master and Commander: The Far Side of the World. Okay, cool. The best movie about ships that will ever come out, especially old piratey ships. Still in theaters, you could see, or could be, Love Actually, Elf, Matrix Revolutions, and Scary Movie 3.
I
cool.
don't remember seeing any of these movies in theater. Maybe Scary Movie 3, but that was that the last of the ones that we were kind of into? And they were like, nope, it's ruined. It's terrible. Stop going.
No, I might have seen 4 in theaters, or 5.
I missed the one with Shax getting kidnapped.
Yep, that's the one I saw in theaters. So definitely saw that one. Okay, and if you waited a week or two, you could see Cat in the Hat, Haunted Mansion, Bad Santa, and The Last Samurai.
Not bad movies.
Yeah, they're alright.
I think Cat in the Hat gets way more hate than it deserves. It's like not great or whatever, but I mean, for some reason, I think I have a really fond memories of that because I remember watching it with our cousin and our Oma, and just being like, and laughing at a certain joke about a hoe. So
Yeah, that one it does. Yeah, I mean, it's not good, but it's like as good as the Grinch. People will like, oh, the Grinch with Jim Carrey. I'm like, the Cat in the Hat is just as terrible.
yeah, they're not great. They're
Always
just,
have to hate it. And I mean, like this time of year, especially like getting towards end of November here, you're definitely the Love Actuallys, the Elves have kind of lived on. Scary Movie 3, although I watched Scary Movies 1 and 2 right before I kind of went on my vacation at the end of the month. Yeah, they're okay. Not bad.
And Bad Santa's not bad. Like, I mean,
It's fine. I remember we got it, and like, yeah, we were as a rental DVD, and it was one of those things like probably watched like 3 times that week, and I was like, oh, that was way better than I thought it should be. Cool.
Yep. And I was like,
Right.
it's a show that you kind of want to hate, and then you watch it, and you're like, nah, it's good.
Yeah, it's fine. Billy Bob Thornton has a time and place. Cool. And when he's on, he's on. Top video games released around this time. I guess this month we saw Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, Tiger Woods, 04, Prince of Persia, Sands of Time. We got Mario Party 5, Beyond Good and Evil, SSX Tricky 3, The Hobbit. Oh yeah, The Hobbit. That's a gross game. Monster Ranchers 4, Harvest Moon, Friends of Mineral Town, Mario Kart Double Dash, Need for Speed Underground, Counter-Strike, Final Fantasy X2, Star Wars KOTOR on Windows. So, pretty big month for video games.
Absolutely. This was the year I got Need for Speed Underground.
Yeah.
For sure. And I remember Dad being like, I'm going to call the lady that gave you this and tell her that she got you a game of Street Racing. It's like, tell her. It's awesome. It's a good game. She's smart for buying it for me. And then I remember Prince of Persia Sands of Time. That's one of the first games I just beat all on my own.
Okay. Yeah, I have no memory of Prince of Persia. That's definitely me watching you play kind of thing. So that's definitely a Tyson game in my mind, right? Whatever we had that on, probably PS2 or something like that. I just never got around to playing it. So
yeah, and it's just like simple, basic platforming.
KOTOR, randomly, I bought it on my Switch, and on my recent travels, I was kind of like running out of games. I beat Mario Wonder, and then I didn't complete Dead Cells, but I played it enough that I'm like, yeah, okay, I get it. It's like kind of fun. Almost was like getting towards the end of Zelda. Booted up my Smash Ultimate, and like was playing through that, and I think I finally beat that after not touching it for a couple years. Like I beat through the story mode.
Yeah.
And then I was sitting there and I was like, just kind of like out of games at the end. And then I saw KOTOR on like my game screen, and I was like, oh, I did a terrible disservice by not just pumping like 30 hours of KOTOR during my vacation, because that would have been a lot of fun.
Oh, yes. I have KOTOR on many systems. It was, being an Xbox guy, that was one of the few blessings of being like, oh, hey, you actually have a really good game here. It's like, we do? It's not just Halo? It's like, no, you have KOTOR. It's like...
I think my Xbox collection literally consists of like Fallout 3, the Halo games, and KOTOR. So,
yeah. You're pretty well set.
Yeah, that's not bad. Then top 3 songs scored to the Billboard charts from November 17th, 2003. Our number 3 was Crazy in Love by the Queen, Beyonce. Number 2 was Shake Your Tail Feathers by Nelly. And the number 1 song was Baby Boy by Beyonce.
Oh, okay. So, right in between Beyonce's 2 massive hits from this album. And Nelly was... is this the double Nelly album? Did Nelly have 2 albums? What am I thinking? Nelly has 2 albums.
That's a great question. But that is it. So if those don't bring it back and you're like, what was I doing around this time? I was like, I can kind of tell you, I think, probably what I was... Yeah, probably playing some type of sports or something like that. Cool. Great.
Yep. Big into basketball. Playing lots of Need for Speed. Smashing some Prince of Persia back in the day. I think this is right around the time where I'm about to get out of my Xbox. Okay. Because it bricks on me for a final time. This is number 7 in my Xbox 360 world. And then I eventually just be like, I'm trading all this in for a GameCube and just buy all the GameCube games. But that might be in a year or 2. I could be mistaken.
Okay. So. It might be a little while in the future, if I remember.
I think so.
Not sure. Anyways, so that is our travel back in time. So are we going to live there? That's not terrible, but I'm going to say no.
Okay. Yeah. No, I might pass too.
Yeah.
It's Nelly's Sweat and Suit. doesn't come out till 2004. So, I mean, I'm not waiting a whole year around for those albums. So, just
No, it couldn't do that. That's ridiculous. All right, so now we know what the pop cultural landscape looks like. Let's look at the development details of this game. So this game takes inspiration from Paper Mario from the N64. The game's soundtrack was developed by the same guy who worked on Super Mario RPG. It was revealed at E3 2003 with a playable demo. To promote this game, contestants could submit the best knock-knock jokes to win a Game Boy Advance SP and a copy of the game. Nintendo employed comedian Kathy Griffin to choose the winner.
That is such a random contest. Like, does knock-knock jokes don't have anything to do with this game?
No,
like,
they really don't.
Like, give us your best, like, plumber joke.
So, how many entries do you think Kathy Griffin actually looked at and didn't just end up picking a name out of a hat?
I think they read them until they found one funny one, and they were like, here, this is good enough. You've had 5 minutes of my time. I'm moving on.
Okay. I guess, or even like 2. We'll find 2 funny ones, then you decide. So, but that could be hours.
Yeah. Some
Okay.
poor intern's job.
Yeah.
To read a bunch of bad knock-knock jokes.
And then show the best to Kathy Griffin. Cool. Yeah. That's an interesting day as a Nintendo employee. On to the controls of this fun game. So you move around with the directional pad. A jumps Mario. B jumps Luigi. That is the main feature of this game. Each brother is controlled by their very own button. Wow. Start is the menu. You have access to the settings, map, guide, gear, and items. Items consist of healing items, badges, or brother point restoring items, and buffs. Gear can be selected to boost your stats and have some other effects. On the overworld, you will have to unlock Jump, High Jump, Float Twister, Mini Mario, Underground Pound Luigi, Shock Luigi, Flame Mario, Tickle Mario, and Speed Luigi. These are scrolled through with the L and R, so similar to Zombies Ate My Neighbors or like Secret of Mana kind of scrolling system. In battle, you have to jump, you can jump, hammer, hand attack items, and use brother attacks. And the 3DS makes use of the touchscreen as a quick select for the overworld abilities, and has a very used mini-map. Yeah, cool. How are the
it certainly does
of this game?
They're simplistic, but they can also be a little tricky. I found my little tip was, because you can switch between who's in front, Mario and Luigi. Sometimes I would, let's say if I need to speed run, I would have that selected as my secondary if I had to do a super jump beforehand. So I would, instead of having to try to rotate everything with the R buttons, I would just, or the shoulder buttons, I would just switch to the other person and just do it that way. And a lot of times that they were smart enough to work out a lot of the trickier puzzles can just be solved by, you don't need to rotate between all these things. You can just literally have, when Luigi's in front, have this selected. When Mario's in front, have this selected, and you can progress.
Okay.
So
cool.
that solved so many of my little problems, because I was doing that, and I was switching things, and I was like, what order is everything in?
Okay. So, but you had played it on the original Game Boy Advanced on the NES, or the Game Boy Advanced Online, right?
Yeah. Because I had go on.
Yeah, myself, I made the purchase of getting, because I have a 3DS that I really enjoy. And I was like, I bet you the remake is probably nicer. And I've kind of always wanted to own all those. So the creature comforts, right? So just having a touch screen so that if I'm trying to select between items, it's just a matter of a tapping. I didn't really have to deal with the scrolling too much, which was kind of nice. Until later on in the game when I kind of got more reliant and more comfortable with the controls. But play around with it, you do get used to it. It's not super tangible. There aren't too many insane platforming areas, right? There's a couple where they're asking you to do quite a bit, and keep traps and okay, make sure to float. Okay, now you're high jumping. Oh, okay, then you have to run really fast. But those screens are usually few and far between, so nothing major.
Yeah, and I can maybe count on them on 2 hands the number of times. They're really good about it. They try really hard.
And I imagine that the creature comforts that I got using the 3DS were probably negated or equal to the creature comforts you got by using, say, the save feature.
Yeah.
Oh, you're on a high ledge. Okay, let's make a save state. Oh, I failed the puzzle. Let's try again. And you can just kind of reload versus I had to I have to now go all the way around and do this again. So.
Or there's a quick rewind where you can kind of rewind a section of time.
There you go.
So during a timed battle section, when you're first, like, you meet a new enemy, if you're, like, kind of not familiar with how the timing works, you do that a couple times until you kind of get the timing down, and then you just don't miss it for the rest of the run. And it's like...
Solid.
Yeah. So...
Cool.
It's nice.
Okay, awesome. So how about our first memories of this game? So this is the first time I played this game. I believe back in the day, I played Partners in Time. I think you had like a ROM hacked kind of DS at some point. Quite enjoyed that game. I knew of the series. But then again, I think since I lost my Game Boy Advanced, probably around this time, I just didn't really ever get back into the game, right? Like buying another Game Boy Advance to getting more games always seemed like a bit of a chore. So I did kind of miss out on that experience because of that unfortunate loss, I guess I had. Although you had a Game Boy Advance at some point too. And I don't know why these games never like resonated, right? Never stood out. Maybe it's just they're rare and we were kind of limited to like the selections we had at our local stores.
I think most of our handheld games were like, those weren't our consoles of choice. So when we're buying, like, you know, we're getting our one game, it would be very rare for us to be like, hey mom, do you want to spend your $40 or your $60 on this handheld game that I might not like? So we ended up, like, I know we filled a lot of our handheld collection just from like pawn shops or used games. Like when
now that being
GameStop
said,
and EB Games had their like pre-owned Game Boy Advance section, I know we always cleaned up that section whenever we could. Because it'd be like $20 and you'd grab like a Pokemon game back in the day.
It's true. It was good value. That being said, we'd like go to Walmart and we'd see a game, it'd be $35. We're like, oh, can we have this? But also these Dragon Ball Z figures, which we'll clearly always want way more. Look, this one is Nappa. Yeah. And Mom would probably be like, well, you can pick one. And I was like, well, I got to have Nappa because, like, how else will Krillin use his Destructo disc? So I was probably, don't figure out how old I was, but I was probably still more into, like, Dragon Ball Z figures than video game.
Yeah. I definitely had the Trunks one.
Oh, we did. We sure did. So just throwing that as a disclaimer. We got stuff bought for us. We just kind of picked and choosed things terribly. So
100%. I mean, when we didn't luck out, oh boy, did we luck out.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So sweet. So that's our first time playing this game. I like when that happens. So with that, now you know our history. You know the history of the game. You know how it runs. You know kind of what the pulp cultural landscape looks like. Are you ready to just dive into this game proper? Let's look at some story, get through a couple pages of level notes, and then see what's on the other side.
Sounds good.
Cool. I mean, if you said, no, I'm not ready, yeah, I guess you'd have to probably be like, well, then what do you want to do? Nothing. Okay, well, I guess the podcast's over. So I'm glad you said you're ready to go ahead, because otherwise it just becomes an awkward conversation.
It becomes like a choose your own adventure after like 12 pages. It's like, and an axe fell on your character's head and you died.
Oh, no.
It's like, well, I'm going to have to write my book report on these 12 pages. Can't keep reading.
Yeah, I did that once. Okay. Story. So the Goodwill Ambassador from the Bean Kingdom and her assistant arrive at the Mushroom Kingdom to bring a gift from Queen Bean for Princess Peach. However, it turns out to be an act of deceit. The ambassador and her assistant are actually villains, respectively named Cackaletta and Fawful, who quickly steal Peach's voice and escape with it into the dark sky.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's what happens?
At the beginning of this game, yeah.
Oh.
And I was like, man, this story goes places.
Yeah. Huh. Cool. All right. Well written by me. That's great. Level note section. Great game select screen. Nothing noteworthy.
Yeah, I didn't see anything spectacular on that game select screen. They really should have revamped this and delayed the game until that was polished.
What a funny section that like Banjo brought into my life, and then since then I'm like, yeah, it's just kind of a boring menu.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, who would have figured Banjo was good for something?
Well, it's not really, because no one else does anything. That's all they did. They're like, look, he's playing a Game Boy in this one, in his chair. I'm like, whoa, that's just like me.
Isn't that cute? And you're like, well,
whoa.
just buckle up, kids. Wait till you see Conker. He's drinking in a pub.
All right. Cool. So we start out in the Plaza and Cooper Cruisers. We start out as Toad looking for Mario, finding nude Mario and being shocked by his Italian sausage. I forgot that happened, but that definitely happened. Right?
He does straight up run into a naked Mario having a shower with the door open.
And he's like super shocked. So Mario quickly gets dressed, grabs Luigi, and heads to the castle to confront Bowser. After defeating him, the brothers stow away on his ship, learn some game mechanics, fight a flying alien, which I believe is Fawful, before the ship crashes. All right, cool. I said it's a fine intro stage. Seems like a fun universe to hang out in.
Yeah, it's kind of got that Mario, Paper Mario RPG cliche of like, oh, Peach is in trouble. Now you're whisked off to a world through like
pretty much.
Yeah. So
Sweet.
good times.
All right, but we crash. So the brothers we crash into Stardust Fields. So the brothers find Bowser in a cannon and must pay to release him. They find 100 coins, learn some brother techniques such as high jump and the twirly spin before a boss fight. The boss here was Tolstar. He was very forgettable. Probably a good intro battle. I imagine he did some attacks so you could like jump or hit with your hammer to kind of avoid damage. And after defeating him, they launch Bowser out of the cannon and make way so we can go to Hoo Hoo Mountain.
Yeah,
Right.
kind of starting to feel bad for old Bowsy here. And the boss is kind of like very like a fat little froggy guy.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
Tolstar. Cool. Skipping tutorials should be mandatory. Yeah.
Oh God, yeah.
Because like at a certain point, I just kind of figured out. They're like, "Can you do the high jump?" And I'm like, "I probably could figure it out. Can't be that tough."
Oh, I'm not gonna lie. I may have been just button mashing, so I don't have to like read that stuff because I'm like, I'm just gonna figure it out later while I'm watching like TV during that beginning.
Yeah. That's tough. I've started a couple RPGs actually in the last little while, and oh boy, like the Pokemon trading card game was just released on the Game Boy Online.
Yeah.
And I started playing that, and like, okay, you gotta like very painfully do the first battle, and okay, then you have to do this other battle, and then you have to like do this, and I finally started unlocking some cards, and then I think I just turned my Switch off, and I was like, I didn't save, son of a gun. So I'll just never ever play that game again because I don't have an hour of my life to just painfully go through that tutorial.
Yeah, and there's no 2x speed.
No. But what is the hook? So here we go. Here's random questions that we ask instead of just kind of going through walls and walls of notes. Yeah, I played for about an hour. I'm about an hour into this game, right? What is the hook that's going to keep you playing this game?
It's for me. It's this kooky world. Like you're seeing immediately new characters. You're seeing a different stakes. Bowser doesn't seem to be truly the bad guy, even though kind of always he is the bad guy at the beginning of the cliche. Yeah. And it's like super cool, and before you know it, you're like already in this like new world, the Stardust Field, and it really feels like you go through like you cross a couple bridges and you go through like a pipe or two, and all of a sudden you're just like, oh, like where are we? Mm-hmm. And it's like I love that, and it's like I can't wait to see where the new area is going to be because it's I was having fun with this.
Okay, nice. For myself, just controlling both characters, right? Hitting B and A to kind of jump each character individually. Just seems like there's a lot of gameplay diversity and potential that's going to come out of this. And I was kind of looking forward to like, I'm curious to see how this goes, right? Like, it should be fun. So on to Hoo Hoo Mountain. You must find an alien who blocks your path with a rock. Talk to some hammer makers so that the bridge forward can be repaired. Otherwise, you run around this area for like an hour, not knowing where to go because you didn't trigger the sequence to happen, and like then you just don't know where to go, and you're looking at a map and a guide, and they're like, "Oh, just go to the bridge," and it's not there. Anyways, you can climb the mountain, solve some fire squirting puzzles before a boss. Dragon Ho Ho. Figure out his pattern, and I think he should survive. It's not one of those ones where, like, maybe I got hit once or twice, right? And then afterwards, we can get our hammer, skip the tutorial, break some rocks from earlier, and complete a minecart challenge. Cool.
Yeah, because I was having just so much fun with, like, the rhythm and the because you can essentially take no damage if you time it right. So I was having a perfect no damage run. I think I took one hit up until the this spot, then I was like, no more hits. I'm not using a mushroom. So I would just like rewind, do it, and I like learning every single enemy's perfect dodge timing is so satisfying. Actually, it's like I can see why they tried to make grinding enjoyable.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh,
I'm,
very much
and
so,
I'm like,
right? And,
that is such a huge win for an RPG because there's nothing worse than like, okay, just smash A mindlessly while I'm doing something else.
Yeah, it takes the action commands to a different level. Like, it feels like you're playing an action RPG almost, where you get to kind of be engaged throughout the whole sequence. You're not just waiting for the enemy to attack you. You actually can have some type of active challenge, and it just really makes the potential. And then we didn't mention about this, but the level up system in this game, you get your normal stats increase, but then there's also a kind of a gambling multiplier, so you can pick an extra stat, and you can just kind of grind out 1 or 2 stats per character, and you'll get anywhere from like 1 to 5 extra points. So it can add up in the end. I think my strategy in this game was I just powered up my like attack.
That's fair. I think you need a little bit of speed at some point, but
yeah, I think Mario was usually pretty good, and it was like Luigi had to play catch up. But Mario was just my like cannon. He just would like always overpowered.
But having a slot machine mechanic and a rewind function may also have paid into some of my like, I'm just overpowered as shit right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good times.
Solid. Yeah.
Good times.
What did I say? I think I was lost for a little while in this area. Yep. Couldn't figure out where to go, but I think it has something to do with the bridge being built. Maybe I forgot to check something. It triggers the sequence. Okay, neat. All right, so now we're on to Bean Castle Town and Bean Castle, or Bean Castle. After fighting through a few screens of Spinies, you find a destroyed Bean Town Castle. Walk through it to progress the plot. Don't spend an hour running around and finding dead ends. Okay. At the castle, you find out that the queen is in distress, are tricked into solving the plumber's problems before having to fight the possessed queen. So you fight the possessed queen. She didn't seem too hard, but I may have got lost a little bit earlier and was probably a little bit over-leveled. All right. Afterwards, you knock her out. You were requested to go find the Chateau de Chucklehuck, to revive her. All right. So 3DS had some pretty amazing quality of life improvements. The minimap being displayed at all times is great. I didn't start using it till later. Much later. All right. Cool. I like when I'm depressed in my notes. That's always makes me happy. Yourself, Bean Castletown. Anything stand out to you?
The queen looks like She-Hulk.
Yeah, she does look like She-Hulk. Where are we at? Notes. All right, so now we're to the Chateau de Chucklehuck and Chucklehuck Woods. I like the names. They're fun. It's hard to say them out loud for the first time without, like, yeah. You enter the woods and you must fight through screens before finding yourself in a giant mansion. There is a maze of wine casks. Fight with a burglar and a big green turtle henchman. You learn 2 techniques, Mini and Stomp. You can use these techniques to solve puzzles of the forest and find the boss in an old tree. The boss here is Popple and Rookie. If you attack Rookie, or if you attack Popple, Rookie will counterattack. So you need to kind of take out the stronger Rookie, or just tank a lot of damage. Puzzles
or
in this area
perfectly, like
or
a
time
boss.
it perfectly. Yeah, there you go, and never take any damage. So Chateau de Chucklehuck. Anything stand out?
No, it's a fun little section.
Okay.
I can't. This one doesn't really stand out too much. I think this is. I like the little burglar guy, and I like Rookie. He reminds me of if Bowser was a Ninja Turtle.
Yeah, it basically is just Bowser with a Ninja Turtle mask on. Cool. The areas, I found the puzzles in this area aren't kind of too tough to figure out, but they are kind of like oddly satisfying. Like when you get through the maze or you kind of just get through an area, you're like, I'm so accomplished. Now I realize they're not the hardest in the world, but they're just challenging enough that you're kind of like, oh, okay, that wasn't like a piece of cake. Good for me.
Yeah, and it's straightforward enough where you don't tend to get lost. Like you got lost on the mountain. I think I also kind of got lost around there. I didn't really know what to do. And then, but there was a spot later I definitely got lost. But it was probably a little bit of me not paying attention. Because that is...
the conveyance in this game can, if you're not... I think maybe the map shows you where to go for the most part.
I think so. I feel like there's like a flag or something like they used in almost all their other RPGs. Yeah,
I think there was maybe one other spot where maybe I was stuck too, but we'll talk about it when we get there. We're on to Woohoo Universe, or Hooniversary? I thought it was University, but maybe it's Hooniversity. After giving the Chateau de Shucklehuck to the queen, she tells you that there is an issue at the university. So we head to the southeast to investigate. There aren't any obstacles in our way. Once you reach the university, we fight some of the best enemies in any video games. That's the Dr. Mario viruses. Solve some puzzles to move a light beam through the facility. And at the end, we get to fight Popple and Rookie. Cool. And this fight does not stand out to me. Awesome.
Yeah. I love the little Mario. You got to turn them all the same color.
Yeah.
To beat them, like, that is clever. I love this stuff. This is great.
Yeah. So typically the screen would be populated with 3 enemies of different colors. And if you hit them, I forgot what the cycle was. Maybe it was like red, yellow, blue. And if you get all 3 viruses all the same color, so whether just like hitting them once or twice, it would just be an instant. They would just all die.
Yeah.
So
and every time you hit them, they just cycle through the next color to the next color.
Yep.
So like if you take a counterattack, then you can like bounce on that. Also counts.
Yes.
Or
so excellent, and that's what I wrote. Like, just one of the best enemies in any video game. It's this great callback to this game that I very, very near and dear to me. So I was just like, what a great mechanic! Like, absolutely just genius mechanic in this game. And it's one of those things where it's mostly a simple RPG. There is not a lot of challenge to these. I imagine it's probably a very similar formula, but just these little tiny touches that this game puts, and I'm like, outstanding, absolutely outstanding, right? What a great mechanic.
Oh,
I just love
definitely.
it.
And I think that this whole like idea of jumping on or hitting enemies with like your hammer or like just jumping on them, just like they took a blend of so many like just simple mechanics and they just like seamlessly like interwove them, and it just works, and it's so rewarding. It's you don't immediately feel like they're not going to hold your hand. They're like, to defeat these enemies you need to do this. You just instinctually, like, you kind of almost accidentally come across it, and you're just like, oh, that's how you beat these guys. That's so cool. I love how you have to match them. It's like playing a Tetris game or a game of Dr. Mario while you're playing a game of like an RPG. It's just those little touches show how like creative this team was for solving all the different areas and getting everything a different flair.
It was about this time while I was playing this game that I definitely queued up all the rest of the games on the 3DS on my eBay page, just kind of ready to buy. Now, some of them are a bit more expensive, so I was like, I don't know. And recently, on my vacation, I was in Japan, and they had lots of like retro video games. When I was looking in Tokyo the one day, almost bought this whole game series in Japanese, only to later find out that they're apparently region locked, so I actually wouldn't be able to ever play those games unless I got a Japanese 3DS, and they would be stuck in Japanese. So I'm kind of glad I didn't pull the trigger on that one, but no, these enemies almost made Nintendo a lot of money. So, well, or at least a secondhand market, a lot of money. So,
and I think just shows that like these character designs are so unique. And it's so like it's cool that we're throwing new ones in there. We're remixing old ones. We're even throwing in references from different games. It's like I love how this like is paying tribute to the history of Mario while giving us a fun, super not serious game. Yeah,
no, that's very, very good. Okay, sweet. So there you go. So who would have thought Dr. Mario viruses that amazing? But they are. They were off to the Oho Oasis, Oho Ocean, and Bean Bean Airport. After fighting, the Bean Star flies up in the air with all 4 characters. Mario and Luigi wake up on a beach, solve 2 temples to unlock the fire and thunder abilities. We swim underwater, find out that Peach is coming, and head to the airport, where we fight some piranha plants before Peach arrives and requests that we head to Little Fungi Town. So the solo parts of this game are good, very well thought out. They understood the game mechanics very, very well. Yeah, so occasionally the brothers are always together, but once in a while Mario will get sick or the brothers will be kind of separated. They play out fairly nice. Like the game, I don't know, the guys that made this game, they had a very good grasp on their game design, their limitations, their strengths, and they played to all of them almost flawlessly. Like excellent effort top to bottom.
Oh, absolutely. And even like I think with what the product plants, you got to spray stuff with water. So again, just like here's a new different mechanic in a kind of puzzle solving area that's very straightforward, but it's extremely rewarding. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. Like, and even just exploring the overworld is, you're now like what felt like there was so many hidden spots all over is starting to really open up at this point in the game. So
So this part I was a little bit confused as to what the story was. So Peach shows up, and it turns out that the Peach that lost her voice was actually a fake Peach.
Yeah.
And the real Peach is fine the whole time. So I kind of was like, do we care about fake Peach's voice that much? Like, maybe we just put her in a dungeon and, like, this game's over, right? Like, we just move on with our lives.
Yeah.
Versus, or I thought this Peach was like a traitor and she was going to betray us at some point. But no, this is actually the actual Peach.
Oh,
and
that's what
in like two sections it gets way more complicated. But like I was definitely like, this is definitely seems suspect. No, the real Peach was fine the whole time. So
yeah,
cool.
Yeah. No, that was like I was like, oh, so here's the plot. Here's the real twist in the game. It's like this actually isn't the beans are the bad guys, and I kept waiting for the shoe to drop. And this kind of sets up like this whole like there's two Peaches. Do I need to really believe the second Peach? Like, what is this? Mm-hmm. It really sets it up a good mystery. And then it's just like, oh no. And I feel like the story just loses it at some coming up. But
yeah, I'm like, oh, it's interesting. No, it's not. Don't overthink it. Okay, so we're on to Tihi Valley, Little Fungi Town, and Guafawa Ruins. So we meet up with Princess Peach in Tihi Valley. She'll get kidnapped if you leave her alone, so you must keep her on screen while solving problems through the valley. After about 2 to 3 puzzle screens, you fight a boss. The boss here is Trunkle. I think this guy just tanks a bunch of damage, and this is one of the first times in the game where I felt like I was almost underpowered. So up until this point, doing pretty well, had pretty good damage output, wasn't taking a lot. I was like starting to be like, oh, I have to like get a heal strategy going. All right. And I really enjoyed the Peach puzzles here. Kind of once you figure out what they're going for, it's almost the right amount of challenge. So you need Peach to walk across the screen while maybe you're up on a different ledge, hitting switches, using the different abilities you have to kind of solve multi-tiered puzzles so that like a barrel will show up so that you can kind of touch a button and you can progress to the next screen. It's done pretty nicely, actually.
Yeah. I mean, unless you randomly forget to speak to Peach in the town and you're just exploring Tihi Valley before she's even kidnapped. So then you spend the whole time wiping it out and accomplishing so much. And then you're like, oh, Christ. Now I need to go get her. And yeah, but that was like, because I was like, it got to a point where I was at Trunkle and I was like, how do I progress? And it's like, oh, okay. I don't even have Peach right now. So I had to go backtrack and get that all sorted. But
that sucks.
Yeah,
it sucks.
Yeah, such is life.
Yeah. How about finding the Beanstar pieces? So in the village, we can get some upgraded equipment, and Mario gets sick from a mushroom. Luigi must explore a temple to get a red leaf, and upon his return, Peach is kidnapped by the Bean Person and Bowser, and we are tasked at finding the 4 Bean Person or the pieces for her return. Part 1.
Yeah, yeah. So it's kind of like
that means.
This weird part, kind of just. Yeah, and it's like oh, okay, now I feel like this is just the story doesn't matter anymore. Like we've lost the plot here.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, and I'm like, so then Peach, I don't know. I guess Peach was kidnapped the whole time. I don't know why she came back. Seems odd.
To walk through a valley and
I guess
make you do an escort mission, which is like, oh, well.
Yeah. So this is one of the other parts where I got lost here, I think. So I randomly visited the hammer guys. They upgraded my hammer, which was great. Apparently, I was told to do this. Missed that dialogue. You can then flatten Luigi and turn him into a surfboard and move around the seas to find the land of Joke's End. That's an ice-themed level that sees the brothers split up for a small chunk. Once they reunite, they solve puzzles before fighting the boss. And the boss here is Johora and her friends. So you can pick 3 to 4 options, and you get to kind of fight them. I feel like I picked a big ice guy. I'm not sure if there was like an easier or better or reward for different characters.
I looked it up because I was like, oh, multiple selection. Maybe I must miss something. So I looked it up real quick. There's no difference.
Okay.
They just said like one's like blue, one's in like a pink outfit. They're all giant like Yeti.
Okay. Cool. And now Bowser captures Peach, but it's Luigi, and then we get the Bean Star back. So that's fun. Yeah. Then there was another point where like we go to give up Peach, but maybe it's like fake Peach, but then it's actually Luigi, and then he has to escape from Bowser's ship. Cool.
Yeah. It's a little kind of haphazard at this point. I feel like they're stretching some ideas, and oh well.
Okay, sweet. I think I missed the surfboard puzzle, so that was the part the first time I ran around for about 20 to 30 minutes looking for like where to go, till finally I had to look it up, and I was like, because I definitely found the entry point to the ocean and tried to like pound Luigi into the slot. There's like this like weird slot board that he goes into.
Yeah.
But he has to be underground and then go up to it. So I just like missed that little bit of a sequence, and it costs like 30 minutes. I was like, it sucks. And I enjoyed that some of the puzzles and the added variety of enemies. I think up until this point, I literally was just using jump attacks. And this was the first time where I had to try like use my hand attacks and use my fire or thunder, depending on which the weakness was, or maybe a hammer attack or a brother attack. So I almost ended the game, and I'm being forced not to just basic attack. So again, it's an easier RPG, but it's not bad.
Yep, and it's a little bit there's some subtle nuances.
Yeah.
Pretty. I like the surfing stuff. It's a little bit harder to move around.
Yes.
But it's not bad. I think
No.
once you kind of get the hang of everything. And yeah, but it's so easy to just miss a simple little thing, and then all of a sudden you wasted half an hour of your time just running around, like not having Peach with you or not knowing how to turn Luigi into a surfboard, which is also kind of like I love how the randomness of like the powers, but a good time to also kind of get some side quests done and maybe go and get a bunch of those bros attacks, because there is a couple good ones. So
Yeah, see, I didn't do any of those things, so I definitely was like under leveled, but I imagine probably would have added some to the game. Anyways, now for our final area, we have to ask the age-old question: beat or complete? So beat is you're just gonna beat the game, get the ending, walk away. Complete means, oh, I can't not do everything in this game. So for yourself, beat or complete?
I think it's just beat.
Yeah.
If you have to go and collect every little bean, I would lose my mind.
So the beans that you collect in this game, randomly there's X's on the ground, and if you pound Luigi into the ground, he pops up, he gets a bean. I think there's probably 1,000 of those.
Yeah.
I can't imagine it's whatever. I can't imagine the reward is worth it. Like
no. But
no.
you can. Did you do any of the coffees?
I didn't even do that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I did that all when I kind of got lost and I couldn't figure out where I was missing.
Okay.
When I was missing Peach. There's a little coffee place where you can trade in all the beans that you've been collecting. There's 4 different types, and every time you get one, the guy from Luigi's Mansion, the scientist, he shows
Professor
up.
Egads?
Egad shows up, and there's like a little cutscene, and then one of the stuff, like he'll give you something that will increase your attack or your health, or just something randomly, and it's just like a one-time use. Or you drink the coffee, and it's like a one-time use or whatever. So if you wanted to kind of like you could really pump up some stats if you wanted to.
Yeah. I definitely made the game more difficult by not doing any of the extra stuff. And I probably had lots of beans, because at one point I was collecting them like crazy. So,
I guarantee you probably could have been like super overpowered if you just went and grabbed some coffees.
I could fire it up right now and be like, okay, awesome, great. Well, not that this game was a challenge, so I don't know if I needed that. All right, so on to the final area, which is Bowser's Castle. After seeing the bombed bean castle town by the flying Bowser Castle, we are tasked on getting there. Checking the guide in the menu, I learned to go to the mountains, meet a dinosaur, and fly to his castle. The castle is broken up into 7 sections, each featuring a Koopa Kid. So in the first section, Iggy, you are dizzy and you have to walk around the room with backwards controls. I was like, wow, I can't wait for all these different challenges we're getting. How neat.
Yep. I mean, anytime the Koopalings show up, aren't you happy? I know I was.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for Mario 3 and Mario World. Ah, man, I love those Koopa Kids. Morton Jr. is the second section. In this battle section, you have to avoid the ground pounds before you fight him.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. But these battles aren't too bad. I went out of the way and I got like a couple moves. There's a Cyclone Bros where like Mario will spin around, and every time like he spins around, you can do a hammer damage. So you can do like 300, 400 damage and just like a single Super Bros move. So I feel really broken, especially with my boosted stats.
No kidding. I don't know if I was doing that much damage. Not that these were a challenge or anything, but could have probably made it just a little bit simpler. The third one is Iggy again. So I think you screwed up some name mechanics there, game. You have to do some twirly puzzles and fight as he spins around. Okay. Oh, is this just the one where he spins around and you just have to kind of like jump over him?
Yeah.
And that's like the whole battle?
Yeah. Well, and it's like in the some people think the hard part is, I don't know. I just like, I could see why some people could not get like, because sometimes he does a slow spin around you, but I've been working on my rhythm mechanics. So this one's an easy one.
Okay, nice. On to the fourth guy, which is Ludwig von Koopa. You have to do some water squirting puzzles. Koopa shell game before the fight, and the fight consists of him shooting out of sync flames and then one giant flame that kills him in one shot. I think, unfortunately, when I had one of the brothers die in this, because I couldn't keep up with like the out of sync flame attacks that were coming, and Luigi just ended up dying.
Yeah.
But I was able to like one giant fireball kill him. Yeah, he missed out on some experience, but that's not too bad.
Yeah, it's fine. Like, it's not a big one. And I like how, so each of these sections has kind of like different, minus the backwards controls. I guess that's the first time we're seeing that. I don't remember another time where we had backwards controls. Each of these other sections has kind of like different elements of puzzles that you've already experienced in the game. So it's kind of like a puzzle and boss rush all mixed into one. It's really cool. I like this.
Yeah, I was down too when I was doing this, and I was like, that's kind of neat. Cool. Onto the next section is Roy. You have to complete a 2D Mario throwback stage, some duo block puzzles before fighting him with a time limit.
Yeah, next, and the rest of them all get a time limit at the end, just to kind of amp up the stakes. Roy is one of my favorites, so I like this one, and I love the 2D section, because even at the end, I think you grab an axe like it's like the first Mario. It's like, I love these little callbacks to old games. Really wish there was more of that stuff.
Yeah. And then Larry is the next section. So you have to complete a speed trap, some solo puzzles before playing tennis with Larry. See? They've got everything in this game, even Mario Tennis.
Yeah, I think you miss Wendy. She just has like those some barrel puzzles, and you play whack-a-mole with her. The end.
Okay, cool. Nice. So there we go. We knocked out two at once. Yeah, they were kind of just, they are what they are. But we've beat all the Koopa brothers, all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, that's them all. So who did they forget? No.
Yeah, who did you forget?
Because they're called Iggy. I think they're both, 1 and 3 are both Iggy, so they just forgot. So it's like Lenny.
Yeah.
They forgot about my dog Lenny.
Your dog,
so
Lenny.
sad.
Yes, of course.
All right.
Lemmy. Yes, it's Lemmy.
Lemmy.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that makes sense. After like Killmeyer?
Yep.
Okay. Sweet. Poor Motorhead. What would they do? But we're into the final boss. So we have to fight Fawful, little green guy who hides in his dome. I think it was just more of an annoying battle than anything, because sometimes you wouldn't be able to do damage, and then I was just like, do I just sit here and do nothing?
Yeah, I hate games. I hate bosses like that, where it's like you just like, oh, now wait until like they stop doing that thing. But it kept. I think you can do fire damage, and that will heat it up. Or you can wait it out, because he keeps speaking in red text, and we forgot to mention that like there'll be hints. Will be like, if it's green, you should be using Luigi. If it's red, you should be using Mario. So it's kind of like those are little hints scattered about. And that was I was like, I don't think I clued onto that, because I was just kind of like doing my thing of, well, I'm just gonna sit here and wait.
That's fair. Now, at some point, we probably forgot to mention this, but Cacalet merged with Bowser to create Bowletta. That's why Bowser and his castle started attacking the Bean Castle Town. So we're fighting the end boss here, Bowletta. They do a healing attack, turn the screen dark, and deal minimal damage. So some healing and some dodging will get you through this boss fight. Awesome.
Oh yeah, definitely the toughest boss of the game.
No, not the first form.
No, yeah, no, not sorry. Was thinking with the second one. With this, with the spinning arms and the.
Oh my gosh!
And
that's
the heart and the. What do you attack? Yeah. It's that shadow. It's quite the shadow, but I love the design of it.
So Bowletta, the first form, good.
Yeah, it's all right. I mean,
okay.
I do feel sorry for Bowser for some reason.
Okay. A little Bowser sympathy.
Being possessed this whole time and used, but
yeah, poor guy. So we fight Bowletta, we defeat him, and then I believe they go to just inhale us and swallow us, and we're like, the game wasn't that bad at all. It was barely even hard. Well, we're now in this weird spirit realm where Tyson kind of described the Bowletta spirit. It's got a head, a heart that's covered, 2 arms that will spin around, throw fire attacks at you. you have 1 health. So if you're not fast enough, I think it can just one hit kill you, and then you have to kind of start all over again, and you're like, oh my gosh. So after dying 2 or 3 times, I got an option to play easy mode, and I beat this game in easy mode. Probably because I should have like bought some coffees and got some extra skills.
Yeah, or if you had not super mushrooms. So like there's a mushroom that will give both your guys max health. So that's the thing. As soon as you get sucked in, you need to have one of those handy.
Oh yeah. I think I was hammering those pretty hard during this fight because the difficulty spike is really intense. Like it goes from a pretty simple game to all of a sudden you're outclassed. I imagine lots of children that played this game probably got stuck here, and I don't know if you could beat them. Like it's a very difficult battle. Lots of timing included. You have to be able to just like you might need to go back and get more healing items, right? Depending on where you're at. Or get
those bros attacks, because honestly, being able to bust out like 400 damage, and it does degrade over time. So as this boss like bottle goes in, you're doing so little damage. Where even my best attack that was like I was killing all the Koopalings in like 1 hit because I was doing like 400 to 500 damage. I was maybe doing like 30.
All right.
Because like they really scale up the damage, and the strategy is like you cannot have 2 arms because then it will do the awkward swing. Unless you're perfectly good at those timing jumps, it's going to wipe out a lot of health. So if you take out one of the arms, then it can only do that reach attack. So at least somebody's not getting. At least somebody stays healthy.
And you can kind of like have to play your white mage type thing, but like very synonymous. This game is very infamous for being fun, lighthearted. Super hard final boss. Like we're talking like old school JRPG Final Fantasy 4 level of difficulty where all of a sudden you're like, what? Like you're harder now? Or like Sephiroth just having double, or like the ruby weapon having like double the damage and health if you're at level 99. You're like, how is that fair? What the hell?
Yeah, definitely. And it's tricky. It's very, very tricky. Lots of attacks.
Yeah.
So
Long tough battle, lots of good variety of dodges, and it's kind of a fitting end to this game. Let's bring everything, right? We've thrown a lot at you guys. Let's see if you can kind of keep up with the really, really difficult challenge, right? So the ending, though, you defeat Bowletta. The prince shows up and tells you that the castle is exploding. You escape, say some goodbyes before leaving on an airplane with Bowser in tow. Yay!
Yeah. I kind of was hoping that there was going to be a plot twist, but I guess it's just that Crackletta or whatever the heck it is.
I guess. Sure. Yeah, the story leaves something to be desired. So, current thoughts. I said it's a very, very fun RPG. It isn't going to be a challenge for veteran RPG players who enjoy kind of more character autonomy, right? It's very limited. But for a casual person to pick up and play, you're going to prefer a pretty solid experience. Like, you're going to be like, that was lots of fun, right? It's very creative. The inclusion of the greater Mario universe in this game is awesome. I love being able to control both characters individually, right? It really challenges your brain sometimes to like jump as Mario and then Luigi, especially when it's like not at the same time. So I kind of like those challenges. And overall, I'm very blown away from this experience. One of those, I don't want to play my cards like too quickly here, but I wouldn't be against trying some of the other games in the series, like Inside Bowser's Story or Dream Team, or maybe one of like the Paper Mario crossovers or Sicker Stars, right? Like, I had a pretty good time. Yourself?
Yeah, very good. I think it definitely lived up to. This game comes with I've always my friends that did play it were more Game Boy Advance players than I was. I remember them having it, and they loved it, and I was like, I should always get around to this game. So first time playing it, loved it. Story's a little bit and some of the conveyance in certain areas leaves a lot to be desired, but honestly I was having a blast running around, being able to essentially nullify any damage by just rewinding it and trying it again and rewinding it and trying again until you get that timing. Really gave me a deeper appreciation for this, whereas it was kind of like a built-in God mode until you don't need it anymore. And it's just great way of playing it, great way of experiencing it, whether it's the remake or the online one. Definitely a good one. The story is not great, but it's solid. And I mean, I think it lives up to the hype on the prestige of Mario RPG and Paper Mario. This is kind of those other ones where it's like this is their handheld RPGs, and I think it does a really good job of staying in that same echelon as those other two games. Like maybe not as good as those other two games because I love those other games, but This is definitely very, very solid. Very, very good.
I agree, and because the 3DS was just a moneymaker for Nintendo, and it was so profitable for them, I understand kind of why they pushed this series as their main RPG, and we kind of lost out on the Paper Marios over this. Right now, at the same time, nostalgia. I love Paper Mario. I wanted more Paper Mario in my life. Not getting more Paper Mario games and like them being different, I'm always like, I just don't like that. But I could have found this series and had just as much fun, right? So had this game found me earlier in life, I imagine I would have been just as big a fan as Mario and Luigi RPGs as I was Paper Mario, right? So it's just that little bit of nostalgia that's holding me back, right? But I agree, this game was top notch, very good. Yeah.
Yep. So I guess we're on to what would you change?
Yeah, I think the only thing I would say is work a bit on the conveyance, and like the story left a lot to be desired, but just kind of let me know where I'm going a bit better.
Yep.
Probably help out. Right?
Oh, I agree. I think even if it's just like give me a Toad or somebody to talk to, and they'd be like, "How's it going doing this thing?" And it's like cool. I don't need a hint system where it's like or an arrow on the thing or a flash and whatever. It's like but remind me where I'm at.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. Okay, how about a final are you buying it? And then we're out of here. So in honor of the Super Mario and Luigi and Sonic Dragon Ball Z fan series that I loved back in the day, Wario and Waluigi are just Mario and Luigi obsessed fanboys?
I could see it because it's how else do you explain Waluigi?
Yeah, I don't know if you do. He's just kind of does nothing. It's a strange character.
He really is. But I feel like if he was just like now these, it's almost like they're trying to write their own fan scripts for two celebrities in their world.
Yeah, there you go. So cool. And then if you haven't, I remember actually I was a fan of back in the day. They had like a series where Sonic and then this version of Mario and Luigi, and they like kind of battle Dragon Ball Z style, and there's like the 7 Chaos Emeralds. I don't know what happened to that series, but it was like kind of good.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. It's like a weird web series. I don't know. Luigi and Sonic web series.
Yeah. Well, sometimes those ones were like those old machinimas where somebody was just passionate and had a kind of cool story to tell. It's like I like that stuff. But again, I remember we grew up headcanning our own stuff for the Sonic universe, and I think that's where Sonic gets its appeal. But I love this whole like little world that Mario gets to build out because what like the Mario universe seems so like has such a wide scope of there's all these different characters and every game has its own different flair. So it's like its own multiverse and everything is so uniquely cute. So
here we go. Super Mario Brothers Z, the 2006 series.
Oh, so, yes.
There you go. Opening, 9 episodes. It's like 20 minutes. Cool. Well, maybe I'll watch that at some point. Neat.
Yep. Well, if you got like
3
hours.
Minutes. It's all 20 minutes. That's all it takes.
Oh, I thought it was like 9 episodes. Every episode was 20 minutes.
No, each episode's like maybe like 2 minutes or something.
20 minutes. You can burn that off on in a like any time.
Yeah. Sweet. Cool. So that ends the official review. We just got a cultural significance to get through. And then we're out of here. End of month of Mario, but we're talking Mario next month, so don't cry for us, Argentina.
Yeah. We're
okay. Be all right. So cultural significance. In this section, we look at game design, the lore, inspirations, turning points, interesting stories. We talk about how this game relates, give other examples, and tie it all back together in the end. This game doesn't have a lot of pop cultural references. It references like the Mario/Nintendo games a bit, but nothing really too outstanding. So I wanted to look at this game kind of where you control 2 players at the same time. I thought that was a really cool, unique mechanic. But when I Googled it, I found a lot of people giving examples of like Resident Evil 0. You kind of control 2 characters, but not really at the same time, so it's not kind of what I was looking for. Some of the examples I did find, though, was a game called Shadow Tactics Blade of the Shogun. I've never heard of it, but it seemed like it was you control 5 characters in real time as you kind of play through it. I think there was a part in Portal 2 where you kind of control 2 robots, though I'm not entirely sure. Maybe it was like multiplayer. And then the only other one that kind of stood out from without doing like a ton of research on this, was a game called Brothers for probably the 360. I think it was kind of that era, 360, PS3,
yep.
Where you play as two characters, same time. Each character is controlled by one of the different joysticks, and you have to kind of solve puzzles. Spoilers, though, at the end of the game, some tragedy happens and one of the brothers die, and you're kind of tasked at completing the game as just one of the boys. Having that, you've always, it kind of made the loss much greater because you lost a part of yourself, right? Instead of having the two characters to do these puzzles, it was just the one, right? So you definitely felt the loss a bit more. And I think that was probably one of the better examples of kind of these controlling two characters at the same time video games. But I don't know, was that enough for a whole cultural significance?
It's all right.
Okay.
The only other one I can think of it Takes Two, but that's more of like supposed to be like a cooperative game with two people, kind of like brothers. But if it's more like one person's controlling one person, the other person's controlling other person. So sometimes like the other person does a really easy thing, and the other person does a really difficult platforming section, and you have to like wait around for them. So it's interesting.
Yeah, and like I think there was a game called like Snipper Clips that was the same thing. Where like shapes, and you had to kind of like confront them, and you could play it as like one player controlling the two guys, but it was also a multiplayer game, right? So it's kind of a not really working. Anyways, and as a result, just the fact there wasn't enough information, I was like, I got to come up with something. So there wasn't enough there. So how about we do a tournament? And the main criticism I have seen about this game is the final boss difficulty. It's almost unfair. So a huge, huge difficulty curve. As a result, let's compare, as Tyson alluded to, Mario RPG, Paper Mario, Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga. Those are the three games. What if we compare the main bosses from each of the games? All right, so throwbacks. We've got the big bosses, Smithy, Bowser, and Cacoletta's Soul. And let's see if Tyson can decide who is the toughest of them all. So Smithy from Mario RPG. His health power is 8,000 health power. He has 5 different forms. Each of those forms has 8,000 health power. Attack, it's about 150 to 250 attack power. Max damage, so your party's health is about 150 to maybe 180. So you probably will need to have Peach focus on healing. She may be able to attack kind of once every 3 to 4 turns. So if you look at that as kind of overall 3 out of 12 turns, you're probably healing, so about a quarter of the time. The max damage someone can do is Gino has an attack that can do 9,999 if timed well, so essentially a one-hit KO. And finally, what is his relationship to Bowser? So his big sword removed Bowser from his castle, but he was ultimately defeated by Bowser. Okay.
Yeah. Smithy's a good choice. He's a tough guy. So let's see who's he's up against.
All right, so we have Bowser from Paper Mario. So his health is 99 health points and 2 defense. His attacks can go anywhere from about 8 to 10, and he can heal. Mario has about 50 health points, depending how you level your guy up in that game. So he does about 20% damage in one attack, all right? His max damage, like I said, 20% to Mario and his party, but since Mario is the only character, you probably will have to heal about 1 out of every 4 turns. So they're very similar. The max damage that Mario can do, so if you cheese the game, Mario can do 99 points of damage if you use a 45 plus power rush strategy.
Okay, yep. So,
right.
So essentially you can one-shot him.
Yeah, one-hit KO, and his relationship to Bowser is he is Bowser.
Makes sense.
Okay. All right, so those are your 2 competitors so far. So Smithy and Bowser. Oh, it's going to stack up. Obviously, that means the clear answer, because we're like, we don't have a winner. Probably Cacoletta's Soul. So Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga. So her health power. So her arms have 320 points of damage. Her heart has 1280. You have to cycle because the heart is only vulnerable once her defenses are down, and usually it's only for a turn or 2. Her attacks vary and are based on how good your timing is, so there's a chance she actually may never hit you. The max damage, I couldn't find a stat on her, and most of the videos that I saw online were guys not getting any damage done to them, so they were just avoiding all her hits. So I was like, oh, this isn't getting very far, and I didn't want to bust out my game and fire up the fight and figure it out. But I recall needing to heal probably once every 3 to 4 turns, so pretty similar to the other 2. And then the most damage Mario can do, and so on a forum, people were claiming anywhere from about 1,200 to 3,000 points of damage in a single attack. So you could probably get her done in about 2 attacks. Oh, and you also get 2 attacks per turn. So if you're doing anywhere from 12 to 3,000 damage, you're dealing a lot of damage in your 2 turns with your 2 characters. And her relationship to Bowser is they once merged to fight the plumbers. So after that, the 3 competitors. It feels very even. So I guess you just pick your favorites, unless you can logic out a champion. But that's your game. Now that I've presented the 3 bosses, are they just... Did we just discover there's a secret formula to Mario RPGs?
A little bit. Okay. I think you're right, because it's super balanced. Everybody's kind of balanced. Like, even though Paper Mario only has like on paper it's like only 99. Bowser only has 99 health. That's nothing compared to the 8,000 of Smithy. It's like, yeah, but there's just zeros added to your attacks as well.
Yes.
So I think it is really, really balanced. Because we beat Smithy. I don't remember really struggling with Smithy. We've beaten Paper Mario. I don't remember beating Bowser. Like, Bowser really giving me that much of a hard time. I feel like I had, even though I was like overpowered and like I still needed to hit that timing on to miss those for her to miss those attacks on me. So I feel like there's more technical skill with the trying to do a no-hit run versus probably the other ones, because like maybe with Gino and his 99 to have to do it. So I don't know, I'm torn between Smithy and Cackleta's Soul as the toughest. I'm leaning Cackleta's Soul. Just slightly.
It was a tough battle. I also give you that. And that's kind of, I was like, I feel like that's just the right answer. The other ones, it was very, very comparable. Yeah. And I didn't look into it, but I wonder if all just like most final bosses, like there's probably a 1 in 4 turn heal formula that like they have for final bosses. Like you looked at anything from like Sephiroth to whatever the hell happened at the end of Final Fantasy VIII. I couldn't even tell you. I don't care.
Yeah, I bet you. It's like Square Enix probably just has this like somewhere like on a final boss.
They should heal at this point. They should do 20% damage. They should do this. They should do that.
They need an attack that does X amount of damage. That should be about what approximately the people's like the average player's health is, so they can almost one shot them to amp up the stakes. So yeah,
yes,
it's like
yeah, cool, awesome. Well, there you go. We did something that wasn't just a random tournament. Maybe we'll do that next time we talk about a Mario RPG.
Absolutely. Maybe. I look forward to it. I always love these games at the end.
Sweet. Awesome. So that is everything. That is our show. That is our month of Mario for this year. Did we miss anything?
I think I got to say James Bond. Other than that, I think we did a pretty good job. We try to touch on base on all the little stuff. Thought we did a really solid run through of this game.
Yeah, not bad. Awesome. So that's, I think we say goodbye. We're out of here. See you guys in a couple weeks. And I think we're talking about maybe a movie that has Mario in it. So that's exciting. Potentially. Yeah. Sweet. Cool. All right. Till then, bye.
Bye.